In this video, I'm sharing how you can negotiate recruiting contracts. Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Natasha, the business recruiter. Welcome back to my channel. So as you know, there are many components that are associated with a recruiting contract. Some of those terms include payment terms, guarantee period, as well as the candidate interaction clause. Now, while each of these plays a very important role in terms of your recruiting contract, there's a couple areas in particular that you want to make sure that you get right before you send your contract over to a prospective client. And one of the first components is going to be your payment terms. Now, your payment terms not only include how much you're going to get paid, but they also include how and when. You want to ensure that this is clearly outlined and stated within your actual contract. Your payment terms, particularly on the direct hire side, are really going to focus on what is that placement fee that you're getting for placing a candidate into that role. There's a couple factors that you want to take into consideration when you're determining exactly what that placement fee is going to be. Number one is, are you getting compensated fairly for the expertise that you bring to the table? If this is a more tenured niche for you, meaning that you have years of experience either working within this niche or working on this niche in order to be able to fill roles, then you want to ensure that your placement fee is going to be associated with the experience that you bring to the table. On the other hand, if you're more new to this particular niche or new to this industry, then maybe your payment terms are going to be lower to be able to compensate for the fact that you don't have as much experience. Now, second is you want to take into consideration, is the actual role more entry level or more specialized? If it's a more entry level role, then ideally, again, your payment terms might end up being on the lower end of the spectrum to compensate for the fact that there just isn't a lot that will go into being able to fill that entry level role. However, if it's a more niche or specialized role, then you want to be towards the end of that placement fee spectrum in terms of you getting compensated for the amount of time, energy, money, and effort that's going to go into being able to actually fill that role successfully. Now, in terms of your payment terms, your placement fee isn't the only component that's associated with it. You also want to think about exactly what your net payment terms are going to be, meaning when are you going to get paid and how are you going to get paid? You want to ensure that these specific details are outlined within your contract so that your prospective client, who hopefully will turn into an actual client for you, has no questions in regards to how they need to go about that process once you've actually filled the requisition. Now, typically net 30 are standard payment terms across the recruiting industry, but this does depend on also a couple different factors. One being the industry that you're in, as well as two being just the types of roles that you're recruiting for. It may be necessary for your payment terms to be less or more contingent on the type of roles that you are recruiting for. But net 30 in terms of you getting paid 30 days after you have placed the candidate is standard within the industry. Now, the other component of that is going to be the actual invoice date. When are you going to send the invoice over to your client? You want to ensure that you outline this within your contract. That way your client knows exactly when they can expect the net payment terms to go into effect. Now, typically, the invoice is sent on the employee's first day of employment. So you want to verify that you have the exact information you need in regards to when that employee starts so that you're able to send that invoice over. Now, if you're enjoying this video so far, then be sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button as well as that bell so that you can get notified of all of my videos that drop weekly. Now, the next important component that's going to be associated with any contract is going to be the guarantee period. And the guarantee period is really associated with how long an employee has to stay at a company before you're obligated to have to replace them if for some reason they were to exit the company. Meaning, if someone were to exit the company within, let's say, 10 days, and you have a guarantee period within your contract that's associated with 30 days, because they left within that 30-day window, you are now responsible for either replacing that candidate or providing your client with a refund. Now, for industries that historically have high turnover, this can get rather tricky. However, it's important that you think through what the appropriate guarantee period is for these types of roles that you're actually filling. Meaning, if it's more entry-level roles, you really need a longer guarantee period. Now, for you, your client might say so, but you also want to keep in mind the necessities of you being able to run your business successfully. And ultimately, a contract should definitely favor the terms that you've put into place with your prospective client, but also what ways can you go about protecting yourself in the event that something does happen. And a guarantee period is a very easy clause in regards to how you can actually go about protecting yourself in these situations. Ideally, when that situation position comes up, you want to be in a position where you actually replace that employee versus providing a refund. And you want to ensure that you're very cognizant about what that replacement looks like. Meaning, if you're working with a client who has, let's say, violated your net payment terms and didn't actually pay you on time, would that actually be a client that you would want to honor the terms for in terms of the guarantee period? There's additions that you can add to your guarantee period clause to ensure, again, that you're able to protect yourself. Ultimately, a contract can be very tricky to put in place, and recruiting contracts, if you don't read the fine print, can definitely not set you up for success. So you want to ensure that you take the time to thoroughly read over your contract before you put it in place. Ideally, once that contract is signed, it is a legally binding document, and you want to ensure that you understand every aspect of that contract before it becomes a legally binding document. Now, if you're still figuring out how to actually go about putting a contract in place, then I am here to help. I actually have a free contract template that you can download and leverage immediately in regards to being able to get prospective clients. I'll be sure to leave that link down below in the description box for you so you can go ahead and download it. And if you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to also go down below and give me a thumbs up. That way I know that you enjoyed the content. And if you're not hooked into my Facebook group, then I highly encourage you that you do, because we are in there talking all things recruiting. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.